Hello and welcome to Fight News Now Extra. My name is John Pollock and we are taking you through all of today's headlines and then we're going to chat about them with John Ramdeen and Robin Black. In the news today, Bellator kicks off their summer series with a title fight. A UFC fighter is popped for marijuana metabolites and it appears to be checkmate for Kongo's UFC career. Heavyweight Czech Kongo and the UFC have parted ways following Kongo's first-round knockout loss to Roy Nelson this past weekend at UFC 159. The fight was the final fight on Kongo's deal, and he was offered a new 4-fight deal, which Kongo and his management turned down. His manager, Anthony McGann, has stated that the 37-year-old will continue to fight. Anthony Pettis spoke to the New York Post last week about why he chose to cut down to featherweight. He says the weight class will be a temporary stop for him and didn't want to wait around for a lightweight title shot, even though it will be 6 months between fights for Pettis. UFC featherweight Robbie Peralta has been suspended for 6 months by the UFC after his post-fight drug test following the April 6 UFC on Fuel 9 card detected marijuana metabolites. Peralta lost his fight to Akira Corassani that night, so it will not change the outcome of the fight. Peralta is eligible to return after October the 6th. And Bellator kicks off their summer series on June the 19th in Vacaville, Oklahoma, and have announced that lightweight champion Michael Chandler will defend his title against Dave Jansen, who won the Season 7 lightweight tournament. The same show will also feature the opening round of their 4-man light heavyweight tournament, with Muhammad King Mo Lawal meeting Seth Petrozelli, and Renato Babalu Sobral will take on Jacob Noe. John Ramdeen and Robin Black join me to chat about today's news. Let's start off with Anthony Pettis. He states that this move to featherweight only temporary when he takes on Jose Aldo because he just didn't want to sit around and wait for a lightweight title shot. I think this makes no sense in hindsight when Benson Henderson will probably be ready to go come August or September.
Yeah, but what happens if he becomes the featherweight champion
then
of
I
the
would
world?
assume it's not going to be a temporary stop.
I guess not. I think he's going to have to
Maybe
fight
he
there a
knows
bunch
he's
of
losing
times.
this fight.
Wow.
This makes no sense in hindsight, and then it'll make a ton of sense in hindsight if he wins. I mean, the thing is, you got to make a call. You got to make a decision. And the decision at the time was 145 is open. Henderson could get injured. They could push this thing back. Somebody else could become the next contender. I got a shot. Let's take it. That was the decision. You got to stand by your decision. Then it turns out that Henderson didn't look all that good. He's totally uninjured. He's ready to go. He looks porous, like he could actually, be beaten right now. Well, it doesn't look like the best decision, but you stay with it, you bear down, and you go in, you try to beat Aldo, and if you do, he'll look like a genius.
John, is there a lightweight title fight you want to see more than a rematch between Benson Henderson and Anthony Pettis? Of the options that are out there for Henderson to defend against?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I think this is the match you can make because you have all the viz, you have great storyline. That's where the Showtime kick happens. So I think
both have been on network television now, combined 3 times. You have an audience that, if you're going to headline a pay-per-view with Benson Henderson, to me, the best partner is Anthony Pettis in terms of throwing a lightweight title fight that can really do some business.
It depends what we're talking about. If we're talking about how to sell pay-per-views and how to get people talking and how to do business, and I get that that's important, yeah, man, this is the fight. But I've been breaking down TJ Grant. We're doing a piece on him on 5 rounds on Monday. I've been breaking it down and breaking it down. This guy is spectacular. And if he can get past Gray Maynard, just from a pure sport perspective, man, I want to see him fight Ben Henderson.
I want to see him fight Ben Henderson too, but we're both very, very biased. And I think from
I'm not biased.
Yeah, right.
I'm not biased.
I'm not,
at the
and
guy's
believe me,
footage.
Benson Henderson and TJ Grant headlining a pay-per-view, good luck.
Yeah, but I mean, you also have to look at the fact that Ben Henderson has been on network TV so many times. You mentioned Pettis being there too. Why not make this fight for Fox as well? I think that the fans are tuning in to see specific fighters, and those are 2 guys that will do huge numbers.
You've had Benson now on Fox twice. It's like, what's the point of Fox? It's to grow an audience for these guys, and let's get them into pay-per-view draws. I think this, after 2 times now, close to 10 million people have watched this guy. Let's see if any of that can translate.
Yeah, and
but you need the right opponent.
Well, it's also a good point because we are having 2 conversations here. What fight do you want to see 2 men do, and what fight makes sense from a business standpoint? And
I think
to
you
your
need both.
point, yeah, ideally you do both, but to your point, if Ben Henderson is headlined on Fox, and after that last performance, and if people aren't starting to really get behind them, and he doesn't capture their imagination the way that John Jones does, and Anderson Silva does, and GSP does, then we got a problem.
Let's chat quickly. Czech Kongo apparently done with the UFC after his deal ran out. They offered him a new 4-fight contract. Him and his management, I guess, not exactly impressed with the contract offer, and Czech Kongo on the outside here. Are you surprised by this move, or do you think that this can be beneficial for Kongo? Because you take the UFC letters away, very tough to make it in this business.
Well, not necessarily. It depends on whose perspective you're looking at. I mean, the UFC felt that $60,000 was obviously too much for John Fitch, so whatever they offered Czech Kongo obviously wasn't satisfactory, but he doesn't need the UFC really. If he wanted to go, for example, to go to ONE FC, this is a company that is doing big things in Asia, and I think that Czech Kongo would be a good fit there, as well as the World Series of Fighting. They're looking for fighters, and you can make $100,000 if you win the Bellator heavyweight tournament. And right now, not a lot of options for Bellator in terms of heavyweight, and I think Czech Kongo would be a good addition.
You're reading my mail with ONE FC, brother, because that is definitely the spot right now where they have money. It's in a market that potentially has huge money, and they're able to take some risks, and you can make some real cash over there. Bibiano Fernandez, guys like that are making some real money. And World Series of Fighting, if you want to put some heavyweights together, this is a big name heavyweight. The Bellator.
Is this a big name heavyweight?
Sure. It is when you
this
fought
guy who's
17.
had some unspectacular performances. I'm going to throw all my money at a guy that is at 37 years old. Let's be honest here, the twilight of his career here. What is my long-term gain here?
Yeah, no, you got to look
Czech
at it from
Kongo.
a short-term perspective. Do we use him against some young heavyweight that maybe needs a shot against a very recognizable guy that looks great on TV and great in advertising and great in posters? Pay him $30,000 to fight some young kid. If he beats him, we brag about how he's back on track in his career, and if he loses, we just built a kid.
And I think what Robin's thinking is that you take Tyrone Spong and you put him up against Czech Kongo, and I know that people are going to tune in to see that because, I mean, that just writes itself, does it not?
Yeah, I like it.
Is there a chance Bellator signs him? I would say no. I don't think he's doing the tournament. And
yeah, I doubt it because of the fact that you're locked into such a long-term commitment with Bellator. I would expect him to tour the world and see where he can make his money.
And he's not at John Randin's level of a Vladimir Matyushenko to be signed by Bellator. More Fight News Now Extra coming your way.